Welcome to the latest episode of the Informing Choices mini-pod. A digital twin is a virtual model of a process, a product, or a service. The pairing of the virtual and physical world allows analysis of data collected to predict potential outcomes, potential issues before they even occur, preventing downtime, for developing new opportunities, and even for planning for the future by creating and using simulations, for example. Over recent months, I've seen ideas for the use of digital twins in applications as different as managing airports and representing individuals in the metaverse. To explore some ideas of how digital twins might change our world in 2050 and beyond, I'm delighted to welcome back Alex Whittington to the podcast. Alex is a futurist from the Tata Consulting Services Future of Business team. Alex, a warm welcome back to the podcast. We're going to be talking about three different, but I think related applications of digital twin technology. So let's start with this. How might digital twins, do you think, play into smart cities? What might the implications be in 2050 and beyond?
Well, we did this interesting study called the Digital Twindex. And this is a study that we hope to do every year using this Delphi methodology, which is a really well-established method in the foresight world. So basically, just to give you the background, we kind of crowdsourced experts. We asked a bunch of futurists, what is your opinion about the timing and the progress of this technology? And that's how we arrived at these answers. So the bottom line, kind of the main finding there, was interestingly that these experts tell us that digital twins could become very common in society by 2035. So we're talking about kind of the next decade. They see them becoming usual and important to different functions of society by that time.
And what kind of functions in the context of smart cities do you imagine them performing?
Well, in cities, you can actually have a digital twin of a city itself. So that it would be quite interesting. There's several examples that already exist. There's a digital twin of the city of Orlando, for example, in Florida, where they're using it for, excuse me, business development, real estate, to talent growth to attract people to the area. So a digital twin of a city would also contain different layers of digital twins, things like mobility, right? Public transportation, maybe smart roads or something that works with our future electric cars, right? But there's also the idea of digital twins in government. And we actually talked to our experts about that too. And imagine how we could elevate civic engagement, right? Here in the US, we have a big problem getting people to vote.
Hmm.
It's very, it's very sad to see that not everyone uses their right to vote. So if you had a digital twin of the government and people could perhaps easily, tap in on their phone or something to see, hey, what's going on in my area? What can I vote on right now? That could be a really useful and important transformation of society that digital twins could help us achieve. And basically, a digital twin of the government might look like, you could experience or somehow manipulate or put your input into some virtual version of a town hall or an election or a discussion debate. So I think that that's a really promising way that life will change.
You think those digital twins might be able to model policy, for example, just to see how some of these things might work through once they're actually implemented?
100%. That's one of the big advantages is you could say, okay, we want to put this highway through
Yeah.
here, through this natural area. You can explore the different implications. You can figure out, environmentally, culturally, socially, what is it going to do? Is this what we want? So you can test your outcomes before committing to them. And I think that's going to save our government a lot of money.
Yeah, I guess it allows you to kind of simulate what might happen. So it's kind of a virtual experimental place, I guess.
Definitely, definitely. And that's where digital twins kind of becomes a playground for different forms of AI, artificial intelligence. There's a really close relationship there. You can actually use digital twin settings to test AI things like autonomous bus service or something in your town,
Yeah.
and go through those different scenarios in a digital twin setting so that you're not actually crashing your, your Waymo car or running over stuff in real life. You could actually, they're using it to simulate, especially in transportation, how to make autonomous vehicles very safe and very effective.
Yeah, that was one of the things that immediately struck my mind, is that you can basically model how you might imagine autonomous vehicles to behave once you have certain protocols in place that govern how they kind of navigate through busy city streets.
For sure. Now, and for us futurists, I think that makes it a very attractive technology because we do love scenarios and we love to explore different possibilities. So I think it's a nice marriage here. What we're doing at TCS, our team of futurists, really getting deep into the digital twin area, because it's not just a new technology, it's a new technology that really lends itself to thinking more critically about our choices and making better decisions.
I really like that idea of using digital twins to perhaps inform the choices that we might make. And I guess one of those future choices that we might make is around health and wellness. Clearly, a critical issue, particularly as population ages. So, how can digital twins, do you think, play a role there in supporting and promoting a positive health, positive wellness?
In our survey, healthcare was the kind of the top most likely, most probable close range area where we think digital twins will be effective first. Okay, so more than half of the respondents felt that this is an area we're going to see digital twins, and it's because we already are. There's a digital twin of the skin that TCS actually uses, and with different business partners, which has a great use. It's for testing cosmetics, medicines, also anything that goes on the skin, as a way to replace animal testing, which is a very cruel but necessary practice, right? So we save lives, literally, starting with animal lives. By using this kind of digital twin of the skin to be able to experiment and draw out different, conclusions and make those good decisions. But there's also TCS has done a digital twin of the heart infographic. So we're talking about, how twinning our individual organs could help. Obviously, it would be something your cardiologist would look at to monitor your heart health over time. And the advantage in medical is that, say you have to have heart surgery, the doctor could use, or the surgeon would use, the digital twin of the heart to practice your surgery. Before they actually get you under anesthesia, the surgeon will have already conducted a mock digital surgery to be able to, overcome any unexpected events. I mean, unfortunately, surgeries can go wrong, but in this case, with your particular heart surgery, it would already have had a dry run. So it reduces a chance of, unexpected accidents with negative outcomes. And finally, another great example is the digital twin of the human immune system. And that's something really important following COVID. This is the idea that they could twin our actual, immune system to understand how we respond to things like COVID, right? To a new pathogen. What are your particular allergies? What are your particular, how does your own body respond and work
Yeah.
when to keep itself healthy? So I think, those different levels, from the skin to the heart to the whole immune system, it's going to personalize medicine and help doctors, make better diagnosis, provide better treatment, and most important of all, save more lives.
I think one of the really interesting things about the conversation so far is the potential of digital twin technology to be used in such different circumstances. So, as well as those health ideas, from skin to the heart to the immune system, we've also spoken about digital twins of a city to help us think about infrastructure, mobility. We've seen digital twins used in airports in a similar way, where you create a completely digital version of an airport so you can track exactly what goes on, and preempt potential issues. But I guess one of the other things that I'd observe about these technologies is the kind of examples you've cited actually rely on digital twin technology coming together with other technologies. So using things like artificial intelligence to help, really understand what the implications are for what you observe in a digital twin. So if we think about the future of digital twin technology and then pair that with something like artificial general intelligence, where does that take us in the future, do you think?
Oh, that's a really great question. And that's what we're doing with these survey findings. We'll be giving presentations and maybe writing some articles about, what we call convergence. It's this idea that it's not just one technology.
Mm,
Of course, AI is the starring technology, right? That's on the track to become our general purpose technology, much like electricity, right? A lot of people have observed this. AI will be like electricity in the sense it will be everywhere and in everything. But with that, we have a number of other really big technologies that with which it converges. Digital twins being one of them. All that rises must converge, right? Everything
yeah.
that's now trending upward, whether it's Internet of Things, whether it's the metaverse, bioengineering, synthetic biology. All the idea is that all of these things are ultimately going to meet at some point. And with the combination of AI and digital twins, we could have some situation like with, let's talk about health. I'll just bring it back to the health example. Let's say that you have a digital twin, excuse me, of a building or a location, right? Some workplace, let's say. The digital twin of that building could use AI to monitor things like, clustering of people, and the concern that maybe, contagion is occurring. If there's some, let's say, a COVID outbreak or something, right? An AI could kind of intervene with things like air quality, light, temperature. You could be monitoring your building with Internet of Things and with AI and a digital twin, kind of the whole, meshing of those systems to have a safer workplace, to help people be more productive. You could even support mental health, right? There's things like biometrics that could be in place where maybe these biometric sensors that often tend to use artificial intelligence to interpret the information, maybe they can detect when a worker is getting sick or getting too tired, they're overworked, they need to be sent home off their shift, right? So I think that when you start combining and understanding the convergence, you can really see the exponential changes to society. So instead of having to raise your hand or write a report and say this workplace isn't safe over here, we have this problem, it would be instantaneously occurring with no human or little human intervention.
I mean, the thing I'm taking more and more of is the use of digital twin technology is almost limited by our imagination. And one of the first places that I started when I started to think about digital twins is some sort of digital representation of me in the metaverse going around doing things on my behalf, hopefully that I've asked it to do and it's not misrepresenting me. Um, and it's just immense, isn't it? The kind of scope that we have through this technology. And I think one of the other things that we were going to speak about that kind of plays into that, how big is the potential for this technology, is the role that digital twins might play in our future homes, in the way that we live our lives as individuals, as families. So what are the kind of areas that you see potentially being exploited, if you like, by this technology there?
Yeah, I think that, living with AI and living with digital twins and these sorts of technologies is definitely in our future. The home has so much potential to help, to there is so much potential for AI to help us live better in our homes. And we've already seen that through things like Alexa and Siri and these sort of in-home Roombas and things, security systems and all of that. But when you think about the digital twin of the home, I mean, you could leave your home and still know what's going on inside of it, at a
Mm.
much deeper level than Ring cameras or any of these security systems. But not only that, I would say it's also understanding what you do, what your life patterns are, maybe what your goals are, and helping you achieve them. And if I could just kind of take it one step further, I think there's some real interesting, controversial aspects in terms of it sort of understanding us and being able to digital twin us, right? To have a digital twin of yourself, perhaps that is informed by what your home life tells the system about you, right? Maybe you're being observed by AI and digital twins, and to sort of and this is already going on where people are creating a digital twin of themselves to outlive them when they're gone.
Yeah.
So you can have a digital twin of yourself that one day maybe communicates with your great great grandchildren, right? There, it may seem like a very real simulation, and that's because it would be based on your real behavior and your real speaking style, and maybe the things you do around the house, that it observed you doing for 20 years, and then once you're gone, it can kind of replicate that behavior in front of family members that never got to meet you. So I think that's a really interesting idea in terms of like, these questions we talk about as futurists is, will technology make us immortal, right? Can we upload our mind to the cloud? Can we have a soul that lives forever through a computer or something? And so I think there's also that possibility, and that touches our homes, right? That's in our personal life, our families and our legacies. So it's possible that a home one day will be a smart home that retains your presence and continues to project that even when you're not there.
I'm just imagining how some homes, in 50, 100 years' time would feel very crowded if all those digital twins put in an appearance at once. And one of the other things, I suppose, that also strikes me then when we start to talk about these technologies and the social implications is what about the security risk? What about the cyber security risk? How does that change when so much of our lives, so much of what we do is geared around digital twins?
Yeah, that's definitely a huge concern. With all of these big technologies, it's weighing the benefits versus the risks. Because what if someone, yeah, hacks the digital twin of you and starts misrepresenting you across the metaverse or something? I don't know. But definitely, it's something that, we have to secure. We have to be very cautious of. And we also need to be aware of the intentions of these providers that are making this possible. If someone offers you a chance to digitally twin yourself, you really need to read the fine print there and understand what that entails.
Here's a question that's really going to come at you from left field, I suspect, because it just kind of popped into my head as some of these questions do. And imagine in 2055 and your own digital twin. What will you have forgotten about from 2023 that your digital twin self is now doing on behalf of you?
Great question. I wish I could say housework, but that's probably not the answer. Cooking, cleaning, that's kind of that would be nice. But I think the digital twin of me will be able to do my taxes, right? We'll be able to do my kids' college applications, or the boring stuff that
Yeah.
I'm going to say like autofill on steroids, right? The idea that you can go online and fill out a form, so it already knows your credit card number, and I just need to click a few buttons. I would say something like that. Getting that really boring stuff out of your way, and important stuff though. Applying for scholarships for your kids, or doing these kinds of routine tasks that filling out my grocery order on or something like that. Things that are very consistent, that are very easy to fix if something goes wrong. Um, but I think those kinds of legal, financial, the boring stuff, in my opinion.
And I think one of the interesting things about those examples, I think pretty much all of those examples that you gave there, there's some kind of other connection with other technology that allows you to do that. Whether it's your fridge so that your digital twin can make sure the appropriate shopping's ordered, access to your financial records to make sure that your taxes can be submitted. And it again just really illustrates, I think, the importance of when we think about some of these technologies, that whilst the individual technology itself is always really interesting and kind of cool to look at, that we need to remember that the real power, I think, in these technologies is how they work together and almost collaboratively. And I suppose I say collaboratively because what we're talking about here, if we think about AGI and digital twins, is they are almost working independently of us, perhaps under some sort of protocol. But it's this kind of independence and automation that really starts to open up some of these other avenues, isn't it?
Very much so, and I think that taking the decision making off of humans is a big piece of that, and being able to make that right decision through modeling the different scenarios and outcomes, and sorting through them and letting the human pick the best one, and ultimately trusting the AI or the system of digital twins to pick the right one is going to be big.
Alex, well, thank you. That was absolutely fascinating. A quick canter through some of the potential for digital twins in the future. But I think in that 20 minutes or so, we've got a real idea about the potential of this technology in the future. So, Alex, thank you once again for your time. Brilliant to see you again.
Thank you, Steve.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Do look out for a future episode of the Informing Choices mini pod. There'll be another one along very soon.